and we hop on over to the In My Own Words hotline. We pick up my brother from another mother, the recruiting man, the boots on the ground. This guy does it better than anybody else does. It's Justin Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine to talk some 2021 recruiting. Justin, how you feeling, man? I know you got to be on the road right now, but how you feeling?
I'm doing pretty well, Steven.
Justin, doing pretty good here. Well, we're happy to have you on the line, Justin. And first and foremost, another guy coming into this class, the 15th verbal commitment, that being one, Terence Ferguson, the four-star offensive lineman from the Georgia area. He spurns the Bulldogs and the Florida State Seminoles, giving his yes to Nick Saban and the Tide. Very versatile guy, can play both offensive guard and offensive tackle. Talk to us here, Justin, about Terence Ferguson and how big this is, if it's just as big as landing the Brockemeyer twins.
Well, I think this is huge for the Tide's 2021 recruiting class, adding to that impressive offensive line class that the Tide could quite possibly pull again. Him, of course, joining the Brockemeyer twins in Casey Latham. So I think this is a great pickup for Alabama in this 2021 recruiting class. You're adding a 6'4", 6'5", 300-pound kid who could quite possibly play guard or tackle. Like you said, I really like his strength as a run blocker. I think that it's his biggest strength at the moment, his ability to be aggressive, not afraid to get to the second level and attack linebackers, defensive backs down the field. So you really like to see that out of a Terence Ferguson. And I think this just brings forth that conversation that a lot of Tide fans are excited to talk about, that potential great offensive line class that the Tide could pull in this recruiting cycle.
Now, the one guy that could make this all around across the board, Justin, the number one group in the country, is Amarius Mims. Now, where does he land in here now? Because you mentioned you've got J.C. Latham, you've got the Brockemeyer boys, now you bring in Terence Ferguson. It seems like that missing piece is Amarius Mims. Where is he right now in your mind?
Well, he is set to announce his commitment on August 15th. I do think the Tide is still involved in his recruitment. I think his recruitment is definitely something to look at heading into August, but it still is a Georgia battle, just like Ferguson was, the Georgia and Alabama battle. No one really knows what his decision is at this moment, so I do feel the Tide is still in it, although Georgia is in it as well, so that's definitely something to pay attention to. But there are also some other guys to pay attention to when it comes to the Tide recruiting other offensive linemen in this 2021 class. You have William Parker out of Tennessee, who the Tide is recruiting. You have Tristan Lay, another five-star offensive lineman out of Virginia, who Alabama has been recruiting for more than a year. You have a couple of other guys out there too at that offensive line position who the Tide is still recruiting. So you still have to pay attention to a couple of other guys. We all know Mims is a guy to pay attention to, a Georgia product, a guy a lot of Tide fans are excited to see. We got a chance to talk with them at the Future 50 Media Day event in Orlando in December. He did sound like the Tide was in a great position with them. He spoke highly of Alabama at that particular event. If I had to make a prediction on that day, it would be Alabama if I had to go back and make a prediction back then. But it looks as if Georgia has continued to make their push. So the Tide is still in it with Mims. But as I said, it's Georgia, Alabama.
If you're just tuning into the show, folks, on a Monday, we got the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama Magazine, Justin Smith, on the line right now, talking 2021 recruiting class. And Justin, JaQuincy McKinstry, the five-star defensive back out of Pinson Valley High School here in Alabama. You mentioned this is the most pure athlete to come from the state in quite some time. He dropped his top three on Sunday, that being Alabama, Auburn, and LSU. Now, Saban wants to get McKinstry, but then there's also Jalen Marshall, a five-star defensive back out of the state of Florida. So speak on McKinstry right now. Is Alabama going all out for McKinstry, or if it doesn't get him and it gets Marshall, is that a negative? Speak on McKinstry right now.
Well, I think Alabama is definitely still in it. He did drop that top three, and like I said the last time I was on your show, I think the question going into that top three was who was going to be the third team. We knew that Alabama and Auburn were most likely going to be in it, so we wanted to know who was going to be the third team, and it was no surprise it was LSU. I kind of felt it was LSU. It was a school that he had visited, and it was a school that he showed some love on social media recently too. So I kind of felt it was going to be LSU, Auburn, and Alabama. I do feel the Tide is still in the mix with them, as he told me that they have contacted him almost every day since they hosted him for their junior day event in February. So I do think the Tide still see JaQuincy McKinstry as a priority. He did tell me that he has always felt that they have shown him that he is a priority at the University of Alabama. So it's definitely something to pay attention to with JaQuincy McKinstry. I definitely think the Tide is still in that great position. But as you said, Jason Moore, the 5-star cornerback out of Florida, is another guy Alabama is recruiting as well. And like I said so many other times as well, the defensive back position room is crowded on Alabama's 2021 recruiting board. You have Kyrie Jackson, of course, the JUCO cornerback. You still have Bijan Warren floating out there, as well as Kamari Lassiter, Tuscaloosa defensive back. So I do feel the Tide is still in the mix for JaQuincy McKinstry. I would definitely pay attention to that. You cannot count out any one of those three teams. Of course, LSU is a school that has a rich tradition of developing defensive backs. He has a lot of ties with Auburn, with Bo Nix, starting quarterback at Auburn, being his former teammate at Pinson Valley High School, and the Tide has always shown that he's a priority for them. So I think all three of those teams still have an opportunity.
Now, Justin, just looking at the parents here, looking at the parents of these athletes, the parents of these recruits, the family members. When you get a chance to talk to them, whether it's the 2020 guys that are in here right now or the 2021 guys on the trail, what have the parents been saying when you spoke to them about going to Alabama, the feeling that Alabama gives, the environment or the vibe that Coach Saban and his staff gives off? What have you been hearing from the parents on their comfortability, with Alabama?
Well, I think the biggest thing that has stand out with my talk with multiple parents of recruits in the 2021 recruiting class is the fact that they feel that Alabama is the best place for their child to develop, not only on the football field, but off the football field, in the classroom, and develop as a businessman. I know one parent told me that he knew if his son went to the University of Alabama, he would not only develop as that football player, but he'll develop as a productive member of society. And I think that plays a huge role in all of these guys' decisions. They not only want to win on the football field, but they want to win off of it as well. So I think the Alabama brand is still a great brand that a lot of fans, a lot of parents are excited about joining and wanting their child to be a part of that program.
He's Justin Smith, ladies and gentlemen, hard at work as always, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine, joining us to look at this 2021 class. Once again, 15 verbal commitments. The latest one, Terence Ferguson, the 4-star offensive lineman. Coach Saban and the Tide trying to land the #1 offensive line class in the country. Justin, as always, appreciate the time, the insight, the energy, the passion you have for what you do on this trail, man. Be safe, be good, take it easy.
You do the same, Stephen.
Always appreciating the time, get a chance to talk with Justin on Crimson Tide recruiting. Well, folks, when we come back, we're taking another break here. But upon our return, we dive back into your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your questions, your concerns. We get to the dialogue after this.
T-Town Menswear in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa. Touchdown Alabama magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month, or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in Alabama football content, subscribe here. and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.